Welcome, Gamer Pro. How are you? Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you and to all. That's Valencia. Welcome. No worries. Just Valencia, I need you to, when you get a chance, email me. I'll send a message on one of your videos, but I wanted to highlight you and another individual who are close to getting 1,000 subs. And this is something that I am doing every month. So when you get a chance, make sure you email me and I'll send that to you. Welcome, Carl Belton. And again, thank you, Valencia, who is one of my members. Thank you, Jess Valencia. The temperatures here have plummeted, so I had to cook on a little bit of heat. And I just put on some, what is that? Lavender essential oils. As you can see on the photo and thumbnail, the title of this is of course, my phone won't start. Cut this down. Stop toxicity. Anyone can hide behind an avatar, but your spirit will expose. And basically, that will be my commentary. If there's anyone that would like to leave a comment, or perhaps would like to add, you are welcome to do so. So let me begin, number one, by welcoming everyone and wishing you all a happy Friday, or perhaps Saturday, depending upon where you are on the globe. These YouTube streets have been on fire, and what I mean by that is, from my observance, in some areas, not all, sunken to some really low and dark areas. And again, this isn't new, but some of the things that I've seen and I've heard is new to me and disturbing. Hello there, Mohammed. Welcome. And again, comments, opinions are welcome. Just be mindful to be respectful. That is something I am not going to tolerate. Period. Absolutely, just Valencia. Now, the last time I had a live something to this degree for a couple of individuals, it came off in a way in which it wasn't intended. And again, that is what happens sometimes with different levels of communication. So I will try my best not to purposely hurt anyone's feelings, but I'm not here to coddle. This is a conversation that needs to be had. There is a poll up, and some of you may not want to answer, and I understand that. In life, through school, through work, you go through ebbs and flows, ups and downs. You're not going to get along with everyone. And for anyone who believes that, you're truly misguided. You can be the kindest individual with the purest heart and the best intentions. There is going to be at least one, and I'm being lenient with that will have something negative to say. That's just the way it is. It isn't right, but that is how it is. We see young children bullying or being bullied. We don't know what they see or experience in their homes. Many of these young children are sociopaths. They inflict harm on animals. And if you watch the progression, you can just imagine when they reach adulthood, if they reach adulthood, what effects that can bring to society. There are many people across social media, not just one culture, not just one gender, that has, as of late, and when I say as of late, from, again, this is just my observance, in the last 3-4 months maybe, have spoken on doxing, harassment, bullying, cyberbullying. I've already spoke on my issue back in 2021. That is something that I do not want to revisit, but unfortunately, it's something that I can't escape. Now I've moved on, but now there are others. And there were others actually prior to me, unbeknownst to me, that have gone through similar, perhaps even worse. But what I do know, again, 2023, and we're just 17 days into February, there are some that have gone beyond the unthinkable. When you speak and wish death upon people, or you mock those that are deceased, especially children, and you direct it to the parents, what type of person, what type of soul, what type of spirit do you have? And those that follow and say nothing to you, they too are part of the problem, because as adults that are actually already or should be socialized in the world, you know better than that. You know better than that. There is absolutely nothing funny about that. I don't care what title anyone has. I don't care what zip code you may reside. None of that matters. At the end of the day, we all have feelings. Some people grieve for years, even though they continue on with their lives. Holidays, birthdays, it could be something as small as a cent, or perhaps a sitcom you may have enjoyed with your loved one that could trigger. And some evil-spirited person will have said or posted something that unfortunately made its way to you, will open up that wound that you're still working to not close, because in my opinion, wounds such as those, loss, they never close. That memory, those memories will always be there. So for someone or a group of people to, again, mock is the best word. The appropriate word is just unfathomable, and it is wrong. Now, many of you have a lot of beliefs, and I am not speaking on religion or spirituality. I do believe in a higher power, and I do believe what you put out in the universe comes back. It may not to you, it may not be in the quote unquote victim's lifetime, but I believe it circles back. I cannot imagine having someone speak about my deceased child and then post it online. And let me remind a lot of people of something that some of you may not understand or believe or know. When you post online, you should not have any expectation of privacy. Again, when you being the operative word, post online, you should have no expectation of privacy. Hopefully, the majority of you understand what I mean when I say you. I mean you, the individual. You're posting it online. Others will see it. Others will comment. Perhaps others may share. That's what social media is about. When it came into existence years ago, there have been chat rooms. What other things were there? MySpace, so many different avenues. And of course, you would have people that would say unsavory things that came to their head, ugly things, hurtful things, hurting someone's feelings is wrong, but it's not against the law. What is, however, are some of the actions people are taking to obtain information and to use it in a malicious manner. Doxing is being heard, I really don't want to say daily, but almost. And the fact of the matter is, most public information is already out there. There are people that I know, elders, some younger people, still have rotary phones. That ties to home addresses and everything else. You have children 10, 11 years old that can hack in to systems. You have people that are in positions that have your personal information. If you can get spam calls, you don't answer the phone, however, a message is left. The message often will address you by your name. And if there are people that are looking to appraise, say, your property, they already have your address. So if those individuals can dial your phone, know your name, and address and attempt to have a conversation, what makes you think random people or people you think that are random on social media can't and won't do the same? There are a lot of people speaking about stopping bullying, and it should be cyber stalking, harassment, all of those things. I don't want to put the label movement on it because I think that could diminish people's efforts. I would prefer to say a standing up, recognizing this, and being strong and brave enough to say, this needs to stop. And doing what needs to be done to at least put the ball in motion. Again, there are people who joke or roast. It's a form of entertainment to some. We've all heard it. Many of us have laughed at certain things. Some things that are extremely dark, no. But unfortunately, there are some that do. There are altered documents. There's defamation. There's libel. And there's slander. And some people are ignorant to certain facts. And ignorant is not being stupid nor dumb. It's you just don't know. That is why it is important to ask questions or to research, so you have a full understanding of what it is that is going on, so you can protect yourself or know what you may do or what you may be doing may cause you problems in the future. Unfortunately, there are people, for whatever reasons, may feel a need to belong, and that's okay. But again, you have to be able to recognize what is right, what is wrong. And oftentimes, if you look at what the motivation is, and if it's something that's tangible, i.e., financial gain, then that is something I personally would look at extremely meticulously. They say you can tell a lot about a person by the company they keep. That may not be true in all cases, but I would implore you to look at some people you may follow and watch some of the behavior, some of the words. that they think they've erased, but they haven't. Keep track of hypocrisy, which has been very prevalent. There are those in the past we didn't see eye to eye. And many people, when they start off, again, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. They begin a little reserved and then they'll go in. Maybe set their sights on an individual or see possible expedited revenue. That's the best way to put it. That's the best way I'm going to put it. And they'll jump on that bandwagon until they become the butt, if you will, of jokes or perhaps disparaging remarks. Posting your past. And the most dangerous part is to involve innocent people, such as children, relatives, perhaps friends that you attended school with. None of those aforementioned people have anything to do with whatever you have going on with another individual. If you have an issue, the adult thing to do, if you cannot handle it via email, telephone, text, or whatever device you choose to use, and you feel as though you must go online, keep it between the two of you. Do not bring other innocent people into it. And that is a pattern that I see and I've heard that's happening. You're putting a lot of people in harm's way that absolutely have no clue as to what is going on. And for those that have stepped up verbally to denounce or take a stand against this type of toxic behavior, it has to be more than alive. Those that agree with you and others, all of you should go to the pages of the people that you know. And some of you know exactly people who have been hurt by harassment, bullying, stalking, cyberbullying. And engage. Show your support. And if you cannot make a live, which it's impossible to make every live, but there are replays. You can leave a comment to show that you support. Because if you do not, and you've said you've denounced this type of behavior, then I would have to question your sincerity. If you can show up and participate in lives that's about a bunch of BS, but you've taken a stand and you want to protect all women, well then This is where you should show up if you're sincere about it. Again, everyone has their content, but again, there are replays. There's a comment section where you can show your support. And there are many that will show up to lives of people who have denounced this type of behavior. I have to ask, do you go to the women that you know that has been hurt behind such behavior? Haven't seen too many of you in my comment section. Now, there is a couple that have come over and shown their support and have called it out. So they know exactly who they are. But the others, no. But you show up when your image or the images of people you know are in random thumbnails. That's a problem. This stand that people are speaking needs to come with action as well. Anyone can hide behind an avatar. They can preach. Their voices can be strong. But where is the action? Where is hitting those victims' link and speaking out? Or is it sincere? You know, many people will say, let the courts handle it. The courts are filled with human beings. Humans make mistakes. Not everyone cares about your situation. You can go to a commissioner. You can go to a judge and provide them with every piece of evidence you have and throw yourself at their mercy to get out of a potentially deadly situation. And depending upon who is behind that desk and wearing the robe that day, what you may feel will be relief to you may end up turning into a nightmare. Which brings me to the case. And this is what I reference often when there are people who are not only ignorant, but some of you are just stupid. You're dumb and you're stupid. Because just when you receive a denial for a protection order, or You just want someone to leave you alone. Again, if the person who reads your documentation doesn't feel what you have written is strong enough for them to grant that, it could be a forever life-altering experience. Again, I bring you to YVETTE CADE. And for those of you in the DC, Maryland, or Virginia area, you may be familiar with this case. If not, I'll put it in the chat. You can Google it, but I'm going to share my screen just to bring it home. Some of you stupid and dumb people who are quick to say, oh, you lost in court. There is no losing when it comes to requesting a petition for protection. It's either granted or denied. So let's make that clear. For the many, many people I heard say this over and over. Most of the time, when you go to the court and you file for such protections, and the individual is not an intimate partner, nor are they in your jurisdiction, unfortunately, most of the time, it's going to be denied. Hey there, Andrea. Hey there, D-Truth. I know that you have taken a stand, so I appreciate you showing up. There are others, but again, I doubt this one particular individual will show up here, and it is okay. It just proves my point. But let me present to you a case that will really bring this home. And hopefully I can get to this without this freezing up. If not, the name is there. There we go. And if anyone hears this and think I'm scolding anyone, no, I'm not scolding a damn person. I'm just getting sick of this. And eventually, one or more will be made examples of. And at the end of the day, you have no one to blame but yourselves. This comes from a congressional record. And again, this is in reference to YVETTE CADE. Hopefully it shows up. YVETTE CADE, victor, not victim. In this excerpt, I will be reading for those who may be driving or not at a device, or they can see. Again, you'll be able to see this if you choose to listen to the replay. Congressional Record, Bound Edition, Volume 153, 2007, Part 7, from the United States GPO, which is the Government Publishing Office. Mr. Poe asked and was given permission to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend his remarks. Mr. Poe, Mr. Speaker, in 2005, ladies and gentlemen, Yvette CADE walked into the Maryland courtroom of District Judge Richard Palumbo. Again, District Judge Richard Palumbo, to extend the restraining order she had on her estranged husband. She was tired of the abuse. She wanted an immediate and absolute divorce. Judge Palumbo, however, refused to grant the victim's request, made snide remarks, and dismissed the assault case, including the protective order. 2 weeks later, Yvette CADE, estranged husband, walked into her place of business, doused her with gasoline, struck a match, and set her on fire. She worked at the T-Mobile in Clinton, Maryland, right off of Route 5. Miraculously, and I'm not even sure how they could use the word miraculously, Yvette CADE survived this brutal attack. She received third-degree burns over 60% of her body. Yet she refused to let her physical injuries silence her voice. She became an outspoken advocate against domestic violence, urging women in abusive relationships to leave. She's appeared on Nancy Grace and Oprah. During the National Crime Victims' Rights Week, we honor remarkable people like Yvette CADE, who speak out for victims. Let me repeat that. Who speak out for victims. So for those of you standing out and standing up, please speak out for the victims that you are aware of, and not just on your platform. Tonight, the Congressional Victims' Rights Caucus will award Yvette CADE the Unsung Hero Award for triumphing over her personal tragedy to become a victor rather than a victim. And that's just the way it is. Again, you can Google Yvette CADE and see the damage that was done to her at the hands of someone she married. But the district judge didn't see it, obviously, her way. And as of a result of that denial, his refusal, Yvette CADE suffered the unthinkable at her place of work. Not only did she have to go through hundreds of surgeries, can you imagine the therapy? Not only she had to go to, but what about her coworkers? Does any of you think that any of the coworkers who tried to help extinguish another human, flesh on fire, do you think They don't see those images. That scent doesn't still affect them till this day. And you wonder why mental health issues are on a rise. That in itself is trauma from experiencing the pain and tragedy that occurred, not to them, but to someone else. Think about that. See, when you hurt one person, it's not just one. There are many, many others. It's not just social media. This is a real person. This happened. This is documented. This is not alleged. This is real. The trailer, for any of you that may have seen it prior to this live, was actual footage of me waiting in the criminal wing of DC Superior Court to effectuate a temporary restraining order. It was brought to my attention maybe a week or two ago that an idiot had doxed me. And I guess I'm lucky in a sense. I did not see that at the time. But from what I understand, alleged that I was involved with a myriad of white collar crime. Picture that. So, for any of you who believe that and didn't do or attempt your own due diligence, says a lot about you and that individual. That's the danger. One of the dangers of falling behind evil people. Now, again, because I did not see, I only heard. And it's a good thing I didn't. Because if you don't know, you should know. I'll find out eventually through some pretty good sources and from my own training where and the origin. Some of you are in positions of public trust, which means the public should be able to trust you. Sensitive information should not be made public. That's why you go through backgrounds. and I've mentioned this before, go through SSBI. And for those that may not understand or know what that is, that's a single scope background investigation. And then you have LBIs, which is limited background information. You fill out a form, either green or brown, that is called AKIP. It's electronic. And it's sent to the investigator, who will review it. And the main things that they look for are finances and mental health. There are a few others, but finances and mental health are the main ones because, and this is pre-pandemic, if you have an issue with finances, the way government, unfortunately, may look at you is a risk to compromise national security, a risk to be bribed, mental health, you may be functional, but at the same time, your altered state of mind could cause a mistake in your daily duties that could cause a breach or a mistake that is more difficult to clean up on the back end than it is on the front end. My motto is evaluate the person, not the paper, because you do not know what an individual may experience. In reference to finances, a spouse could have lost gainful employment. There could have been a sudden life-threatening illness. There could have been a tragedy such as destruction of a home, loss of a child, divorce. There's several different things that could change one's finances, but you would not know that unless you speak to the individual and have documentation to substantiate each and everything that individual states to you during that interview. The same thing with mental health. A breakup, perhaps a transfer to another job or to another location. All of those things can bring problems and minor adjustments. Some people, unfortunately, cannot adjust to change. So again, oftentimes, and it is not right, but the government will look at those more closely than others. That has nothing to do with the capability of an individual to do their job. It just questions if they can be trusted. So keep that in mind when you're following certain people, especially when every day or every other day or every month you're going after someone or a group of people. You do know, at least for those that have signed up with the program, and if you have taxes taken out, many people look at social media, not just YouTube, as an employer. And in traditional employment, one of the very first things you do is take training. Absolutely, Just Valencia. You take training, harassment training, ethics training, and S training. And what is S training, ladies and gentlemen? Sensitivity training. Did you know that if someone places a photo or tells an off-color joke to someone else, but you are in earshot and you find it uncomfortable and you express that to that person and it continues, you can file harassment against them by creating a hostile work environment. So if you can do that in corporate America, do you not think that same acumen doesn't apply to social media? Or do you think you can just say and do whatever the hell you want to when the mood hits you and think there are no consequences to be suffered? Are you truly that misguided? Or is it because you haven't been affected yet? Yes, we have freedom of speech. And as I've said before, there are exceptions to that. And if you do not know what they are, research them. Research them. I don't know too many people who will just sit and allow their children to be pawns in this ugly, ugly game. Just who do some of you people think you are to speak on the deceased? And again, those that sit there and say nothing, you're part of the problem. Some have cheered things on. And now, the tables have turned, unfortunately. And as I said earlier, I do not support that, and it's wrong. But if you're going to be fair and call it down the line, then you need to be fair and call it down the line. One person cannot argue. One person cannot go backwards and forth. You have to have someone else involved. Common sense. Hey, proud mixed child. It's common sense. That is not to say you are not supposed to protect yourselves, your livelihood, your family, especially if you have a brand. Especially when you've gone through blood, sweat, and tears to create and market your brand. You have absolutely every right to protect that. Some of these things, to me, in my opinion, the minor things, like the name calling. I mean, you see that everywhere. I'm not saying it's right, but again, you see it. But the darkness, wishing death, wishing any type of negative outcome, bringing up family members, children, friends, coworkers, people that have nothing to do with whatever you have going on. What is the purpose? See, that's a rabbit hole a lot of people are going down, and you're going to find yourselves in a lot of trouble. Are the donations or super chats or cash apps or PayPals or whatever you're receiving worth your freedom or your soul? That's the question I have to ask. Is it worth it? My guess is those that are participating in this toxic behavior cannot be happy. Something perhaps from their past, their childhood, has put them in a state of mind. Or maybe something at present has gone wrong. They say hurt or hurting people hurt others. It doesn't make it right. Because as Jess Valencia says, and I've said this as well, and I keep forgetting the movie, but Denzel Washington played in it, and each time he passed someone, that song, Time Is on My Side, would play. Contagion? Not Contagion, I don't know. Somebody in the chat will know. It's the same thing. If you keep continuing to go to a dark place and that is all you hear and see, eventually it's going to rub off. And just like a little ant that found a little crumb, you'll bring it back to your colony. And before you know it, your colony is poisoned. Hey there, Miss Queen Sunkissed. How are you? The entire colony is poisoned. We're in Black History Month. That may not mean a lot to some people. Others, it may. But what we are doing, well, what some of us are doing to one another is repulsive and it needs to stop. I've mentioned this maybe last year. It had to have been last year. About what was done to condition slaves to quote unquote stay in their place. And that was to tie up the strong male to two horses. And after the blast of a shotgun, that of course frightened the horses, and they would run. The imagery is there. You can imagine what it did to the man tied to both of the horses. So many are quick to say, this man or the establishment, when are you going to start looking at yourselves and taking accountability that you are doing exactly what the man or the establishment wants? And for what? What pleasure do you get of stomping someone that's down and you know that they're down? People say that it's just in this culture. No, absolutely it's not. Valentine's night, as a matter of fact. I'm upstairs trying to enjoy my evening. Had the windows open. I heard all of this ruckus. So I go downstairs, and across the street, a little blonde-haired girl or woman, she wasn't that old, shouted to the blonde-haired guy, "Thanks for ruining my life." There are some other words used. And an object, I couldn't tell what it was, nor was I going to be out there too long, but an object hit the vehicle as she pulled off. So I can imagine what that Valentine's night was like for them. So that's a misnomer. That is only in one culture. The difference is what we see mainstream, or what unfortunately was talked about, is the brown and black culture. And there are many of us doing positive things. There are many of us that have come from humble beginnings. Many of us that had legal issues as youngsters, but have risen and doing quite well. And instead of applauding those individuals, some of us mock them. It's never, ever too late to dream and do something positive. Thank you. Oh, now see, why'd you have to bring up football, Keith? But thank you for that. Much appreciated. And I'm sorry, everyone. I haven't even paid attention to the chat. Make sure I get all of these up. The link is there if anyone has anything they have to say about it. Again, opinions are welcome. Just be respectful. And for the most part, everyone has been. But again, let's see. I'm sorry, Proud Mixed Child. Controversy is personification that can pull you in it when you have nothing to do with it whatsoever. Absolutely. Again, thank you, Keith, for that. Sorry, I did root for you, but as I told you, I thought that the Chiefs would trail. And I put a little short up, as a matter of fact, with Gary Coleman's face on it, where I said specifically, if it's done the way I thought it might be, the Chiefs would trail towards the end and come out victorious. And that's exactly what happened. Just Valencia says, bad spirits, absolutely. And they are everywhere, whether you realize it or not. Thank you, Nini, showing up. Absolutely. Positive vibes. And there are things in life you cannot avoid, but there are things you can. Andrea, thank you. Truly appreciate it. T-Truth, again, thank you. At least T-Truth showed up. One of the gentlemen who was against bullying, harassment, cyberbullying. Again, there are others. We'll see if any of these people, if they don't come in alive, which I doubt, will at least leave a comment. And again, that's my measuring stick. And frankly, I don't care who likes it or not, of the sincerity. When you take a stand for something, it has to be more than words. It has to be. My thumbnail shows it. Anybody can be who they want behind an avatar. Indeed. Proud mixed child. Someone's aura can change your whole mood, and you can actually be allergic to one who is troublesome. Proud mixed child. That is what is concerning to me, because there are actual individuals, male and female, with a deep, dark aura. But you have people that gravitate towards that. So is that cultural? Is it upbringing? Or is it just their ilk? Because I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And if the motive or the incentive is financial gain, and that, again, in my opinion, says a lot. But you cannot continue What did you just say, Keith? Every time I see you, always hit the light. Okay. What is it that you think is funny? I don't think any of this is funny. I don't. And again, I saw something, it may have been a couple of weeks ago, that really made me almost cry, to be honest. It was a post that had a woman's son who was no longer with us. And it was just an ugly, ugly display. And you can blame it on what you may be consuming. But once that effect wears off, something should hit you in your soul, especially if you're a parent, that I shouldn't have done that. I need to repent. Proud Mixed Child says, it's a popular thing to do. For example, think of it like this. 10 people can love something, and one comes along and loves it. The exact same thing, the way the other 10 do, because it's the thing to do. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people are enamored by popularity, i.e., celebrity. Again, we're humans. No matter what the title is, we all have done things we're not proud of. Some of us are still doing things. Some of us are doing things that we say that we're against. When they go crazy on YouTube, but when they be real mean, I don't like it. No, Keith Jackson, it's not cool at all. And again, someone should have called them on that. In my opinion. Proud Mixed Child says, hate is a virus. Absolutely. And sometimes donning that negative energy upon others is coming from one who has deep-rooted hate for self. Absolutely. And again, it has actually spiraled. So I can generally like a person, but darkness, I can't. I can't support that. I know how it feels. So for me to support that would say a lot about my integrity. Thank you, Keith. Thank you for that. But as I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, it seems as though the negative and the going backwards and forth is more profitable or more popular. And again, that may be some who look at this, or this may be your only stream. And some of you are doing extremely well. So kudos to you. But I feel as though you have good content, you will have people, and you don't have to go so deep and disparage. And as I mentioned earlier, bring others into it that has nothing to do with it. Proud Mixed Child says, you can like a person, but not agree with something points of view. With some points of view they have. Or they have some things that they may represent and maintain an understanding with them building a rapport with other takes work. Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. And that is where I see a lot of the problem. I see a lot of the problem. Nobody is going to agree with everybody. I don't want anyone to agree with everything that I say. In fact, I seek others' knowledge. I'm a knowledge seeker because there are things I don't know and there are things I don't understand. So I'll ask questions and I'll continue to ask. But there are certain things that I do know and that I share. And as I said earlier, this doxing and digging into people's pasts, these guidelines are quickly changing. And some of you not only will end up out of channel, what you see as freedom, you'll end up losing that too. Again, to the people with children, whether you're active in their lives or not, you have to have love for them. How would you feel? Well, Keith, a lot of people are standing up saying that. But again, those that do and they're against it, they need to be in the chats or comment sections of those that they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that were or are victims now. And not just say it. Actions speak louder than words. Proud Mixed Child, if perfection existed, I would rather have a balanced and leveled relationship with someone because the idea of perfection is unrealistic. Yes, it is. We make thorough efforts every day but they are not perfect. Absolutely. And we cannot say we are against something and then turn around and do the exact same thing. Well, Keith, that should tell you something. Pray for the hateful and ignorant. Truly is the one thing you can do besides speak against it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I harbor no resentment towards anyone. And I do pray. I absolutely do. I don't believe many people understand unless they've been in circumstances that can follow. I enjoy my freedom. I enjoy being able to communicate to others and to share. And again, sometimes when you try to be positive, or what you say you believe in your heart is positive, not everybody is going to receive that. It's not going to be popular. What's popular is the name calling and false jackets placed upon people. Again, mockery. You got to make a decision. And be true to yourself. The irony with this is sometimes people become, oh my God. And I can think of 5 on my hand right now. The link is there if anyone has anything to say. 5 on my hand right now that fits into that category. Proud mixed child has said, the irony with this is sometimes people become the very same things they speak against, and that's horrible, but it's reality and it happens often. Absolutely. I've seen it, and it is continuing. Hey there, writers. Well, laughter is medicine, but Proud Mixed Child hit the nail directly on the head. And that is the same thing Just Valencia said earlier about negative energy. It's the same with positive. Some people are diamonds in the rough. They just need to be buffed up a little bit and they'll be okay. But others, the motivation is completely different. And it's evident. And while this live is important, it's also, like I said, my measuring stick. My measuring stick to see the sincerity of those who denounce bullying, cyberbullying, harassment, defamation, libel, slander, all of those things that are happening. irony is the boyfriend to karma. That's what I like to say. That's actually nice. I have to remember that. And it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. I like it too. It's calming. So, there are others pulling up reports. Again, as I mentioned, many things are public already. It's the way in which one uses information. And even though it's public, what purpose does it serve on social media? What purpose does it serve? Embarrassment? Humiliation? See, some of you think that if you have a decent vocabulary, that you can fool others. Well, I don't speak often, but my vocabulary is up there too, and I catch many, many things. And if your purpose, if your mission every day is to try and snare or catch someone, in your efforts to do that, you slip. Some of you need to be cognizant of those around you. Some of you need to be cognizant of the ones you trust, because in their sloppiness, is where the exposure comes. And when you're sloppy, you don't have enough time to communicate and get on the same accord. Because just when you think no one else is watching, someone else is. Proud Mixed Child says, vernacular can be a mask, like the one who delivers a statement. Also, the tongue is full of tricks. Absolutely. And persuasion can be venomous. Batteries in the back. There was a statement made earlier this week. I had to chuckle. As I said, some of you have become extremely sloppy, where someone was blessed to be a sponsor, and another person questioned it, questioned the product, made a negative remark about the product, but the holder of the batteries not too long ago, wanted one of their guests to be the face of that product. Now, that might be gone to most people, but I have it. So I guess you didn't have enough time to convey that thought. Sloppy. And that's where the hypocrisy comes in. You perch and watch everyone else, but you don't pay attention to the mistakes you make. Fact or fiction? Doxing someone can get you arrested. This is a fact. Now read some of this for those that may be driving or out, because it is Friday. Doxing can refer to a broad array of conduct, but its essence is publishing private, and that's the operative word here, private information about a person, such as home address, employment, location, cell phone numbers, etc. Usually, and this is the important part, and I would ask some of you who may or think they may have done this, just ask yourself, if you have, has it been out of a sense of revenge or social justice? The term comes from the abbreviation docs for documents and refers to compiling and releasing a dossier of personal information on someone. Usually, doxing is done so that the target suffers. That's the operative word here for anyone involved or thinking about any legal action, so that the target suffers negative consequences ranging from public shame or being fired from a job to suffering a physical attack from an angry member of the public. For example, one Twitter user went on a mission to dox those who attended the Unite to Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. One of his targets was fired from his job. Another was disowned by his family. In the early days of the internet, in the 1990s, anti-abortion activists published abortion providers' home addresses, phone numbers, and photographs, and posted them as a, and this is in bold, hit list. The website included blood-dripping graphics, celebrated providers' deaths, and incited others to kill or injure the remaining providers on the list. Incited others to kill or injure. Please study 18 U.S. Code Section 119, making public restricted personal information. This federal law applies to narrow categories of individuals, including, and this is what is going to get a lot of you dumbasses in trouble, male or female. Any officer or employee of the United States, jurors, witnesses, or other officer in or of any court. My trailer was actual footage of me sitting in the criminal wing of DC Superior Court, waiting to effectuate a temporary restraining order. Informants or witnesses in a federal criminal investigation or prosecution. A state or local officer or employee whose restricted personal information is made publicly available because of the participation in or assistance provided to a federal criminal investigation by that officer or employee. (18 U.S. Code, Section 2261A. If you do not fall into one of those categories, there is a federal law against stalking that may apply to many doxing incidents. And it reads, whoever with the intent to kill, injure, harass, intimidate, or place under surveillance with intent to kill, injure, harass, or intimidate another person uses the mail or any interactive computer service or electronic communication service or electronic communication system of interstate commerce or any other facility or interstate or foreign commerce to engage in a course of conduct that places that person in reasonable fear of the death or serious bodily injury. Again, that places that person in reasonable fear of the death of or serious bodily injury. So, hopefully that slide, and for those that were unable to actually see that, you can catch it on the replay, or hopefully you heard me read out the important parts. So again, understand what you are doing, understand who some of these people and what categories some of these people may be in. Proud Mixed Child says, the horrible thing about this, or one minor negative thing about a person on the internet, can change someone's life forever in the worst ways imaginable. The net can be a monster for sure. Absolutely, it's the way it's used. It can be an exponential tool for many. But as you said, it could be a monster for some. Maritza, how are you? Happy Friday. So, for that individual, I hope I would really implore you or anyone else that even thinks about repeating that I have anything to do with any type of fraud, especially white collar. No. If you looked at my community wall, you would know that's what I investigate. And the sad part is, a lot of you already know that, but you allow others, your crash dummies, who may not know, to go on these missions for you and get you involved in a cluster, you know what, while you sit back with mildly clean hands. Not completely, but mildly. Social media has ruined many lives beyond repair to those who didn't take their own lives. Absolutely proud mixed child. And writers, I'm sorry I missed this. Facts, people use the internet for bad instead of good. Absolutely. But see, unfortunately, many people don't know the people that they're hurting or they're targeting. They don't know who may be in their reach or who may be on their team. And again, just because your initial protection or restraining order is denied, and again, let me make this clear to those that don't understand. That is not a win. That is not a loss. Understand that. It's either granted or denied. And if you are not in an intimate relationship, and I would gather all that I have in my brain cells, I would think most people truly don't know one another on social media. Some, but the majority, no. So intimate relationships You can cross that off. And if you're in another jurisdiction, more so than not, it's going to be denied because they're thinking this person lives miles and miles away. What they don't realize is those that follow may live in your jurisdiction. That's the issue. Proud McChild says, I did see years ago a girl post a video on here crying, asking why are people in the world so mean? And her comment section was ultra toxic. People were saying hurtful things like you're a weakling. Absolutely. I've actually seen where if a man goes to file any type of paperwork that he's looked upon as weak, well, taxpayer dollars are paying for these services. So why should not they be used, whether it be male or female? That's not being weak. That's using the services in which these people are placed in these positions for. So as I was saying earlier, absolutely, social media will soon be the cause to death for many. Not only that, taken away from their homes, or perhaps children removed from the homes. Now, that is something I do not condone, calling people's workplaces, sponsors, CPS. I know that people have threatened to do that. I've heard people have done that. For the kids, leave the children alone. Leave them alone. They have nothing to do with it. They have enough to deal with as it is. Proud McChild says, no matter how thick-skinned one can be, everyone has vulnerability. Absolutely. Absolutely. And another thing, I did a podcast, perhaps in the summer, and it was entitled The Alpha Male. And again, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Men, if you are that guy, you do not have to continue to say that over and over and over again. Your spirit, your behavior, the fruits of your labor will permeate, and others will know that. Alpha males do not do that. They don't have to repeat that. They don't have to convince anyone. It's known when you walk into a room. It's felt. Let's be clear on that. See, some of you, because you want to fit in, won't call things out. And I'm not attaching names to any of this. Those that listen or those who may catch the replay It may roll right off like rainwater. These are facts. Actually, it's almost common sense. If you're true to yourself, you should not have a problem of calling out or at least questioning questionable behavior from someone with 1 subscriber to someone with 1,000,000. It should not matter. Or is the real issue, is the nucleus that you don't want to be excommunicated from that large crowd if you question it. Could that be it? Be honest. If you question something that's questionable, and you already know from past behaviors that it may not be well received, do you keep that thought or question to yourself because you want to be in that crowd? Or do you stand on your moral square and ask the question anyway? I can guarantee 70, and I'm being generous, would never do that. Again, makes me wonder about you. To be accepted by people who will never accept you anyways is what many yearn to do, only realizing later who they want to be accepted by doesn't care about them and never did. To question the questionable is like answering a question with another question, with standing firmly on answering with principle, getting in where you'll truly never fit in. It isn't worth trying. I know that applies to many. Think about it, people. If you have to hold your tongue, or if you are standing on something, but you do the opposite. And to be fair, we make mistakes in judgment. I've done it. And I've said this before many, many times. But if you see that and you're afraid or apprehensive about bringing it to that person's attention, are you a leader or are you a follower? Being accepted is overrated. Being yourself is underappreciated. These are conversations that really need to be explored and had more often. And maybe they are, and I'm not aware of them. But I'm speaking on it because this stand on the harassment and bullying people and putting up information for the sole purpose of malintent, I'm sorry, the other ones that support it, you need to be vocal, just as another individual has and continues to be. Everyone that you know of, you need to make your presence known. If you're sincere about it. Actions speak louder than words. Absolutely. Absolutely, writers. And you've shown that many, many times. Route Mixed Child says, you're only your own person when you stop following others. Follow leaders who teach life lessons. This way, you can lead yourself with respect and righteousness. I'm going to leave that up for a bit. So some can meditate on that concept. It needs to be had, proud mixed child. As I said, it doesn't go on everywhere, but it happens. Like I said, in other cultures, I just see it more. And sometimes I wish there are certain things I didn't see. But as I mentioned, it's hey there, Al Spark TV. Happy Saturday, I think. I think it might be Saturday for you or close to it. But welcome and thank you for supporting. Thank you, writers. And I don't know if you got my message, but you are welcome to clip your portion out of that live. Oh my God, when was it? Wednesday. I'm sorry. Wednesday. I had responded, but I think I had clicked that off. And I was speaking to someone yesterday. I'm still a novice trying to learn this. I was trying to clip out certain pieces as little videos, and somehow or another, I messed up, and the actual live is gone. It went bye-bye. So I need a little bit of more tutelage when it comes to clipping up because I clipped it all. It's gone. I had to download it and then replay it as premiere. I'm like, all right, that was really a bonehead move. Yeah, but you are welcome to do that. Anytime you come up on a panel, writers, with the guests and you're actually in there, feel free to go ahead, clip that, and share with your followers as well. I mean, that was an honor. See, why are you laughing at me, proud mixed child? See, I'm going to start giving my usher confessions because you laugh at me too much. But I'm being truthful. I was looking all over the place, and I almost had a little tear in the corner of my eye because I kept looking for it. I'm like, oh my God, it's gone. It's really gone. Writer said it's not easy to edit. I get my son to help all the time, but I've done it before. I don't know what I did. It must have been brain fog. I don't know. But the bottom line is that live is gone. So luckily, the original is still with us. But the actual live is gone bye-bye. It will never be found. It's gone. And Proud McChild says, better to humor the situation than get... Oh, yeah. I mean, I was, not going to lie, I was a little bit in my feelings, like, what in the world did you do? But it's okay. The content is there. The conversation is there. That's the important thing. Oh, thank you. And the judge was very impressed with him. So, and there are people that have negative things to say about him as well. That's to be expected when you're in the public eye. But one thing you cannot take away is the knowledge. Some of the things I've gone back and researched, like the Fifth Estate, and that is where he spoke about certain news stories not getting the coverage. I am still not hearing a lot about that train derailment in Ohio. And there was another one yesterday on the outskirts of Detroit. So within a 2-week period, there was 2 train derailments. Now, even though the one in Detroit, according to the story I saw, did not result in any injuries nor any hazmat emergency, the fact that hazmat materials were being transported should be of concern. Detroit. Did anyone hear about that story? And that's exactly what he was speaking about. So again, like them, love them, indifferent, or not like them, you cannot take away the wealth of knowledge and experience. And he has been nothing but kind to me and the platform. And he owes me absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. I tell my wife the same thing. Don't get heated. Stay chill and compose yourself. Whatever draws your ear and incurs anger, sometimes it's best to treat with silence and relaxation. Now, that's what I've got to work on, proud mixed child. I'm getting a lot better. But there are times, and I know it's hard to believe that I really can go off. I sure can. But I try to keep my composure. Writer says they charged a kid that abused a 6-year-old. His age was only 11. The story broke my heart. They need to charge the other driver too, though. They actually need to ask a lot of questions. Hey there, perpetual platypusy. How are you? Welcome. Happy Friday or Saturday, depending upon where you are on the globe. Yes, riders, and again, that goes back to what we see these adults doing. A lot of these kids, unfortunately, not all, but some, they're being raised by computer games or social media. And I don't care how many locks and permissions you put on, some of these kids are some rascals and they'll get past them. And children emulate what they see and hear adults doing. Some of the things I have heard come out of kids' mouths, when I was growing up, I would probably still be picking grass out of my hair, out of my teeth, out of my shoes. My mother didn't go for that. And if she didn't get to us first, the neighbors would. Absolutely. You can't say anything to them anymore. Not all. Some. Yes, they do. Some kids talk with an adult's tongue. I had one call me Karen because I told his granddad if he kicks that ball against that truck one more time and there's something breaks, his granddaddy would be paying for it. So I guess he was put on minor punishment. And when he rode his bike by one day, I happened to be coming up the steps and I heard someone say, "You Karen." I turned around like, no, that little boy did not just call me Karen. But yeah, they do. And as I said, if that were me back in the day, thank you. I appreciate it. But if that were me back in the day, I don't even want to talk about it. But they're learning it from a source, a stimuli, if you will. And again, you cannot blame the child. And this little boy cannot be more than 6. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? It tells me a lot of what may be going on inside for homes. Are there two-parent homes? Are there two shifts worked to try to make ends meet? Are there inexperienced babysitters or guardians given the baton to try to save costs? What's ingrained in one's individuality can be can be confounding duality when they're trying to extract the things their parents may have told them is wrong, is right. So they try to reverse these teachings. Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, I have to say, it is not cultural. There are neighbors next door, and I don't know if the little girl has issues, but I'm beginning to think she does not. I think she's just spoiled. But is allowed to scream at the top of her lungs and run up and down the steps, play up against the wall. That's not her fault. That's the parents' fault. Because you know, if you live next door to someone, I know that in apartments, and I believe condos, I'm not sure, especially if you live above, you're supposed to have carpet or something to make it where whatever noises are being made are stifled as much as possible. But because these are townhomes and the walls are thin, I don't believe there is carpet on those steps. I'm not sure how that house is configured. There's carpet on mine, and I walk up the steps. I'm not running. And if I did, it wouldn't be during the hours when the noise ordinance kicks in. So again, that says a lot. Absolutely. And this is an Asian couple. And I don't know if, for whatever reason, they think because a hate crime was passed that allows bad behavior, but that's not what that bill was for. No. Everyone has the right to enjoy a quiet covenant. Simple as that. As simple as that. Does that mean you cannot live in your home? Absolutely not. But you should not be obnoxious and rude, especially when there's been a conversation several times about said noise, and you continue to allow it. You, meaning a parent, are at fault. Because what you're doing is enabling and also quite possibly rewarding bad behavior. And if you're doing that as a child, once you become of age, how do you think you're going to act towards other people? Because you weren't taught basic principles as a child. So again, it's not one race or culture. It's the mindset of some people. And as I said, the little lovers quarrel, Valentine's Day, those were Caucasians. Now, I don't think it was a bat he hit that car with, but he had something in his hand. And as I said, I wasn't going to be out too long to find out, but I know the young lady sped off. So it's everywhere. Unfortunately, you only hear or read about a certain group of folks, at least in my observation. Hey there, the Queen's Whitney World. How are you? Happy Friday. And Andrea, one told little girl boldly, walked up to my brother's screen door and started snapping photos like she was at a photo shoot. Oh my God, are you serious? See, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but these little whippersnappers, especially, I don't know what it is, but we couldn't do that coming up. We could not do that coming up. Oh my goodness. Unfortunately, yes. And there are some that are taught, proud mixed child, how to take care of things, how to be responsible. I get that. But I think some, at least the one that called me Karen, his grandfather is in his 70s. I don't know what happened to the parents, none of my business, but he's actually raising this little boy, and the granddaddy had to jake him up a couple of times. So who knows what is going on over there? But please, you keep him over there, because if you don't get that little boy under control, I don't think he goes to school yet, but he's into everything. I mean, everything. But yeah, they need to get a grip on that little one. And the grandfather is in shape. He rides his bike miles and miles, but that little one, he's something else. He is something else. You have seen many parents show a fear of their kids often in recent times. Now, luckily, I have not seen that personally. I've heard stories, but no, I haven't seen it. Now, I've heard some of the conversations of kids when they get off the bus or just in passing. I'm like, Lord have mercy, that language. But again, you don't even know what's going on in the classrooms, what type of conversations are being had, or in the cafeteria. Queen Whitney's World says, I have 3 kids and they're all disciplined. I have to thank God. Yes. Oh my goodness. And thanks to you and everyone that's played a part in that. And again, I'm not speaking on all, but I'm speaking on a couple that I've seen around here. And granted, it's nice and for the most part quiet, but again, no place is exempt from anything happening. And oftentimes I think that a lot of these parents take advantage of areas that is seemingly quiet, and those are the ones where they're not keeping an eye out on them, and any stranger can come through the neighborhood in a van and just swoop them up, and you won't know anything. You won't know the vehicle. You won't have a description. Why? Because you weren't supervising your children, because I guess nothing has happened or nothing has been reported, but there's always that one time. And that's what people need to think about. It's always that one time. Proud Mixed Child says some of these parents be co-signing, they're negative. Their kids be doing just like as kids. My sisters and I would see some parents defending F-rated report cards at school. Yes. Queen Whitney's World said, happy how my parent grew me up so I can guide my kids in that way. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is a full-time job in itself, especially in these days and times. The conversations they have in the corner stores and Chinese stores here in Philly are crazy. I seen, 12 years old? 12 years old? So that's not considered statutory R? Oh my God. No parental supervision leads to a lot of damage. Absolutely. I've seen this on social media, writers. Neighbors at party every night, loud music, little girls twerking on the porch, no older than 7, the oldest 11. And no one says anything. No neighbor. Now everybody has those neighbors like 227 that sit on the stoop and see everything. You don't have any neighbors like that that don't say anything to the young kids. That is sad. Oh, wow. Half the kids the same age. Oh my God. But again, where are they seeing this? I mean, where is this emulation coming from? Mm-mm-mm. Proud Mixed Child says, these babies out here having babies. Well, it's not like these discussions aren't had. And not only the fact about young people having children, you've got to think about these diseases. That's one thing that I don't hear too many people talk about anymore. But they still exist, and they've morphed into other nasty little things. People complain, cops come, they put the music down, cops leave, we're fighting. that in the meetings, government meetings. That is why I tell people to go. Yeah, because HOAs, they sit there and take your money and do nothing. And I've said this one time before. I would love to see the books and the accounting and what's put in each fiscal year in the budget. Because you cannot tell me that these so-called services that are not being done, where that money is going. You got to watch that. HOA fees in some places have skyrocketed. And again, what are you providing? Other than rules, what you can do, what you can't do. But that's actually a very good idea. You have to. You have to write people. You have to try to get on calendars. Andrea says, I love kids. Had to pull away because of today's society. Undisciplined, rude kids. I'll punch arm or leg with knuckle knot from frog. Get act right. Andrea woke up with a little bit of a stank on her soul. That is too funny. Andrea was like, I don't care if you're a kid or not. Let me wait, make sure nobody's watching. Lord have mercy. Robin, what are you laughing at? But I mean, like I said, some people know exactly about undisciplined children, where others who are extremely blessed have no clue of what that's like. A writer says, people say that white people get what they want, but if you peep, it's because they do what we don't do. They go to the meetings or on that phone making them complaints, even being dramatic about it. Absolutely. And this is why I say letter writing campaigns, getting on those phones, flooding them. I'm going to leave that up. And that's true. I mean, a lot of things, it's a lot of work. And one person cannot do it. Two people cannot do it. You're going to have a group of people, and you have to be consistent. You know, a lot of times people will grant you maybe one thing, but that's just to appease you. No, you cannot allow that. No. You have to come together collectively and again, consistently. The only way is to make change, is to be that change. You can continue to speak and speak and talk, but if you're not out there doing it, it's not going to get done. If we speak it, we'll get it to, we gotta speak up. Wait a minute, I read that incorrectly. If we speak, we will get to, we gotta speak up. Absolutely. I mean, it's everywhere, honestly. It's a lot of work because I know I'm the only person fighting for the safety of our kids and staff and school. Writers, you shouldn't be the only one doing that. I mean, there has to be more parents that have the same concerns that you do. There should be teachers or guidance counselors or teachers' aides. That's what we used to call them back in the day, that echo your sentiment, that believe in your cause, and should be right beside you. That is crazy. No one's stepping up for them. Cameras. Wow. So I know that you've gone to meetings. I've seen that. But have you actually tried to get on the governor's schedule or calendar? You know, the elections just passed, so this would be, in my opinion, the best time to try to get on calendars. Well, congratulations that your voice was heard, and I'm sorry it took that long. Unfortunately, that happens. I know I've been talking about certain things for a very long time, and finally, after some years and some letters and some visits, things started to move. But yes, you have to get involved. You have to get involved. I was on a code compliance committee, and while some were involved to make positive changes, others were there to pad resumes, unfortunately. And I'm like, are you serious? All of these things that are coming in from the public. But again, you have to really be with people that share like thoughts and ideas and a vision for your community. Proud Mixed Child says, also, the one thing that is a setback is they say if you film something happening, it's morally wrong. The parties involved have to be aware they're being filmed. People committing crimes won't let you film them. Yeah, picture that. Picture that. Sometimes I think we're going backward instead of forward. People gotta sign that petition or step up to show them. They even said it, just like they did, to put cameras on the bus, because there's no law or bill to make them do it, and no funds. So Philly doesn't have funds. Have you looked into? I don't believe that. I mean, I'm probably certain that's probably what's being said, but fiscal year, it's not even halfway over yet, unless that wasn't factored into the budget. These are the things that people really need to talk about. But I guarantee you, the funds or salaries, and I'm not taking that back. I am not taking that back at all. I'm extremely serious about that. The fiscal year is not even 6 months over. So you cannot tell me there's no funds. If there was a disaster, there would be funds. If the National Guard had to come out, or FEMA, there would be funds. Never accept wooden nickels. Andrea says, I used to go to district school board, got their attention, changed whole office, didn't care if I got fired or moved somewhere in Texas. Well, congratulations to you, Andrea. See, people need to do that. And unfortunately, and this is true because I know it, when you speak up, you are not going to be popular. You may be blackballed, you may be labeled a troublemaker, but how can you be a troublemaker when you're only wanting to affect change that will be for the betterment of everyone in the community? Not just one, not just two people, but everyone. It makes no sense. Writer says, we smarter than that. It's going to take more than just me even to do it. Worldwide, people have to come together. I've looked up. I'm not the first to try to do something like this. Writers, you may have to, hold on, let me see what you said. People scared. I don't know why. They think they're fighting against the government, in my opinion. Well, I mean, they are there for the community, for the people. I would look up in your state's government directory in certain areas. I would, and I know it's a lot of work, but if you had someone that you know is passionate about it as you, look up a couple of contractors and try to get pricing as far as having these cameras installed. Or look to see if there are groups or people out there offering grants that care about the security and well-being of children, to see if they would do it just to give back. There have to be business owners out there. They have to be philanthropists out there. Find out who they are in Philly and contact them. Let them know what your concerns are. That may be an avenue to follow. But that's where I would start. Proud Mixed Child says, you do the right thing, you're annoying. You do the wrong thing, you're adored. That's been that way for some time. Not all the time, but in many cases, you just have to believe that good will prevail. And I've seen progress. I would like to see more. I would like to see more cohesiveness than division. And I honestly think it can be done, but again, it's going to take people who are willing and honestly have the same beliefs. Writers says, I made a start first person to make it to Boyle here in Philly and make my statement about that. I'm getting my point across. I need to get more parents to stand up too. Absolutely. Rachel says, on some real-ish, you and Judge Joe Brown gave me motivation that first time on your panel with y'all. I did it. I got to the senator here in Philly. See? Oh, he was extremely impressed with you. Absolutely. And sometimes, writers, that's all you need. You don't need, well, in my opinion, one doesn't need an entire group. You just need one. Just that one person who believes in you and knows what you're doing is sincere. Everything else will come to you. You'll get that fire lit and things done. Absolutely. And that's why I say that over and over. I don't need all that. I don't want all of that. That's for the birds. Well, maybe for you younger folk, but nah. I don't need all of that. One voice can make a lot of noise and have a huge impact. Yeah, depending on the voice and if you get a backing. Absolutely. I don't know what that little smile is there for a proud mixed child, but absolutely. But you have to keep fighting. After you conquer one hurdle, then it's the next, and then the next, and then the next. If you know anybody at your local radio stations, that might be an avenue. Media is always a good place to get things going. Now, you may not get a Ben Crump or slick back Reverend Al down there, but you may get the attention of someone else in that area. So I would try to research radio stations, other publications that people read often. Maybe, and I don't know if you have it there in Philly or not, independent cable news stations. I know here in the DMV, PBS and Maryland Public Television, they have forums and town halls often where a lot of people come together. That may be an option. You may want to reach out to those, and you never know. See if you can get a spot on there. Trust me, I know it's a lot of work. Phone calls in itself, people may think, oh, that's not a lot of work. Yes, it is. It's a lot of work. It's tedious. Sometimes you're placed on hold. You can be holding 40, 45 minutes. And when they tell you, okay, stand by for connection, and then the bleepity bleepity bleep accidentally disconnects you after you've been on hold all that long time. So it's like you got to start all over again. But the end goal is to make things safer for the children and those coming behind them. The work will be well worth it. Andrea says, every boss has a boss. Go, absolutely. And I've done it so many times, Andrea. That's why people get mad sometimes when they see or hear me coming. All right, PMC, thank you so much. Let me put yours up and I'll go back to Andrea. You enjoy. I had to get some rest now. Stay safe and blessed. Take care of everyone. Have a good night and solemn weekend. Hosts and chatters. You too, proud mixed child. Thank you so much. And you be blessed as well. Andrea says, every boss has a boss. Go over her heads, climb the ladder, go to the superintendent office, find 2 or 3 to go with. Absolutely. You got to be a you-know-what raiser. And not in a mean way whatsoever, but you cannot go in meek and timid. Not saying that you are, writers. I am not saying that at all. I'm just speaking in general. Because at first I was like that. And I'm like, these people aren't paying any attention to me. Okay, let me come up with another approach. And that worked. Now, you don't have to act like Aunt Esther and go all crazy, but you do have to be assertive and bring yourself a little brief, if you will. And go through your little talking points. And if you have to look at some of the bios of the people that are in charge and ask about them and their availability, they'll know that you've done your homework. They probably won't like it, but they'll know then you're about your business. Advice and knowledge and motivation is what I needed after I lost my brother. I'm so sorry to hear about that. I didn't even know at the time, writers. I'm so sorry. And I got it here with you. And Nate the Great and the Word. Thank you. You're very welcome. See, they're good people. They are good people around. You just have to use your discernment. And again, watch the behaviors. People talk a whole lot. It's what they do and also what they produce. That's the important thing. Thank you, writers. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone. So it is now 8:40. I have discussed all I needed to. Hopefully, prayerfully, people understand the importance and severity of this toxic behavior. And I know some people will just brush it off or think, oh, it's just such and such, until it actually comes knocking at your doors. Don't wait until it knocks at your door or a family member's door or a friend's door or the bus stop. A lot of the power to stop some of the things we see and hear is already within, but you're going to have to want to do it. You're going to have to want not to be part of a group. You can enjoy people and the company of others. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually a good thing. But if it's supporting something that's dark and evil, you have to be strong enough, and it has to be in your heart. If you truly believe it's wrong, to walk away. Andrea says, I was a handful. Whenever I showed up, they called the police. Never approached, just watched me get what I wanted face to face. You have to do that. You have to do that. I remember I had to get blood work one time, and the same guy, and I know they say lightning never strikes twice, but this was the third time I've got the same guy. I'm like, I don't believe this. Big as my veins are, dark as my veins are, on my complexion, he tried to tell me he couldn't find my vein. When I saw that face the third time, I said, oh no, you're the same asshole that messed my arm up before. No, I want a supervisor. He didn't really like that. He said I disrespected him. Okay, I did. And I apologized. But he disrespected my arm 2 times prior. There's nothing, well, there are a lot of things, but that's one of the worst things, to be stuck once and then have to be stuck again. And you already know the person doesn't know what they're doing. And I wasn't going through it a third time. So yeah, that was one of the times I went off. I don't play with my health. No, you will get cussed out. And I won't think twice about it. That's something, when I sit down in that chair and have to roll my fist up in a ball to make sure the blood is pumping, I know the routine. I'm ready to hurry up, get in there, and get out. I don't have time for anyone playing the okey pokey or whatever you call it on my damn arm. If you don't know what you're doing, if you're not experienced, say it up front when I ask the question, because I ask, how long have you been doing this? And it's not being disrespectful. I want to know. How long have you been doing this? And if it's anything under a year, next. Can I see a supervisor, please? So, yeah. They all know me quite well. Andrea says, I know what you mean. I mean, like I said, I'm very patient with many, many things, but I have my pet peeves, and that right there is one of them. Nope. Yeah, as I said, I apologized later, but no, I went in. And when I saw that face, I went, not again. I'm going to let you know exactly what I think about you. My arm is not a guinea pig. They've done that too, Andrea, with the butterfly. And I think they say that they've blown a vein. And this is one of the times, this was years ago though, when I was actually in the hospital. And you had to have that on, hooked up to the IV. And when you stay overnight and you have those things hooked up, you know you have to drag those things to the restroom. And I was already mad because I hate the hospital. My goodness. I don't like to use the word hate, but as far as hospitals, I absolutely hate them. This woman, real pompous, blew my vein. She did it twice. And I'm like, what are you doing? The people out front was like, what in the world is going on in that room? So the doctor actually came and said, we're trying to get blood work. I said, I understand that, but she's blown my vein and this is the second time. So he said, well, we'll have to put it on your wrist. It's going to be a little bit painful. I'm like, and you don't think this is painful? So I said, I don't want her doing it. He said, well, we're really short staffed right now. I said, I don't want her doing it. Either find someone else or I'll wait. I know she was mad as hell, but I didn't care. That was painful. Anytime you had to have that done on your wrist, and my arms stayed almost purple for about a week or so. Mm-mm. No. Absolutely. And that's the thing. I mean, it's not like um my complexion and the darkness of my veins, you can't see it. And they're thick. So no, they just didn't know what they were doing. And instead of saying after the first time, I'm sorry, let me get someone else. Mm-mm. They wanted to F around and try again. And you got what you got. Or ones who use butterfly needles. Nope. I hate them all, Andrea, to be honest. So when I go now, it's just to get my levels. And they usually take maybe 6 or 7 vials. And as long as they get that good stick in, I'm good after that. So that's my pet peeve. I'm not afraid of needles. I just don't like them. And I already have a bad taste in my mouth about people that my gut tells me they may not know what they're doing. And I will always ask, excuse me, how long have you been doing this? I try not to be mean about it anymore or make them feel bad. So I'll say it in a nicety type way so they won't be offended. And they really shouldn't be because it's my arm. But as I was saying, hopefully people understand the dangers, some of the things that I've seen and heard that have been just uncalled for, extremely ugly and dark, but most importantly, no one saying anything to these people about it. And again, you don't have to go online and do it. I'm sure you have other means to contact these individuals. But let them know, hey, that's kind of dark, you know, or I don't really agree with that. Or politely, if you truly feel that is dark and wrong, walk away. Walk away. Those of you, and I'll repeat this again for any that may hear the replay, and I'm extremely serious about this, not being mean and attaching anything to anyone. If you truly believe in anything, if you are standing up for bullying, harassment, cyber stalking, any of those things, please act on it. And the action should not be selective or, as some people may say, based upon who you may like. If it's wrong for one, it's wrong for all. As I said, there are some that are truly in this and serious and have spoke up, and I appreciate them. There are others that I've heard from others that are against it. But you need to show up again. And I'm going to say it and continue saying it. And those that you know that have been hurt or are hurting now as a result. You can't be selective in this. It's almost like an oxymoron. It's all inclusive. All or none. So, you can't show up in the live, but the women that's been tormented, harassed, defamed, doxed, and say nothing. Again, it leaves me, and I would say, quite frankly, others, to ask, are you sincere? You have the information about YVETTE CADE, whose order for protection was denied. And as a result, 2 weeks later, her estranged husband doused her with with gasoline and set her on fire. Yes, she survived. That's a lesson to some of you who think that when you go to a court and file an order, if it's denied, it's because the petitioner did something wrong. No. It is how the person receiving your complaint, your petition, interprets what you say. And if they feel, understand me, if they feel what you have placed on that document isn't strong enough to warrant and grant that petition, it's going to be denied. So people that have said, oh, such and such won, such and such lost. There's no such thing. It's either granted or denied. And in YVETTE CADE's case, the court failed her by denying the petition. And it didn't matter the evidence. It didn't matter. She was afraid he was going to try to take her life. And 2 weeks later, that attempt was made after going into a court home, and the petition was denied. Read, people, some of these stories, some of these cases, and understand what they mean. Nobody wins in this type of toxic behavior, period. And as I showed earlier, the classifications of people where it is a crime if you do some of the things that some of you are doing. And United States codes and sections. It's all there. Be mindful of what you're doing and who you're doing it to. Think about being leaders and not followers. Before you end up following down a dark rabbit hole you won't be able to get out of. And those of you that think certain people may have your back, because honestly, and some of you may not want to hear this, these people truly don't have your back. You are just catapulting them higher up. So think about that. Think about it. The minute something goes a different way, will they quickly get on the phone and discuss something that you've discussed? Or perhaps text or written? If you see a pattern like that, and I know sometimes people who are true empaths that feel for people, we may converse with others and show that we care and support, but oftentimes It's not truly reciprocated. You are as good as what you can do for an individual to get to where they need to be. And once that is achieved, ask yourself, honestly, do I need to question once they get to where they need to be? And if I needed the same thing, could I count on them the same way? Or will my email go unanswered? Will my text message receive no reply? And will my phone call go directly to voicemail? Sometimes, and I'll end it with this, the people who have paid the most to be in the front row to watch and listen and enjoy your performance are the same ones that are there to eyewitness your fall from greatness. True story. And if you need any evidence of that, look at some of these celebrities that are gone too soon, and the ones who were, so many people believe, the closest to them. Food for thought. It also comes from age and wisdom. You all enjoy the remainder of your Friday night, or perhaps Saturday, depending upon where you are. Be safe, be well, and be healthier. Thank you to my members, my mods, my subscribers, and those that come by to support. And also those who may not care one way or the other. Hopefully you've gleaned something positive, even if it's just one thing, from anything that I've said during this live. Take care, everyone. And bye-bye for now.